Hey guys, so I had like a very chill week. I got a lake nearby and I basically went out with friends every day, chilling and, relaxing by the lake and just, enjoying the sun and the good weather and stuff like that. And this stuff really made me aware again, like, of the value of friendship. Because there's been some times in my life, where I spent lots of time alone. And also, like, in relationships, I got really fixated on my partner, and that's like a really bad recipe for some really bad stuff because once that happens, all your energies go out the window. I think there was a study once I read or that I heard about that said, men need like men's nights like twice a week at least. And I think that's even underestimated. Because spending this time with like male friends, it's it gets you back into a frame of this is a man's world. This is like you think about things from the male perspective primarily. And when I remember, being in relationships and like being totally fixated on my partner, these were times like when I lost touch, with the masculine perspective. It's so easy to get sucked into another person's frame and starting to seek validation, which is always like the wrong turn to take. And because there was so much friends time this week, basically like every day, it brought me back into a frame of like, life is chill, masculine energies. I think having like a good social circle and like good friends, man, that makes you less of a validation seeker. Even if you're looking for validation, man, you're spreading out like the source of your social energies, basically. And social energy is so powerful, man. Social momentum is like a huge, huge deal that's so underestimated. I mean, in terms of energy, many people talk about willpower, like willing themselves to do everything and then forcing yourself. But I think that's at times the right approach to put a little control back in. But overall, it's just better if there's like a natural vibe and you get like natural energies from natural sources. I mean, of course, there's like the basic stuff like oxygen, man, food, water, doing human things. But social energy is such an overlooked source, man. I mean, it's so common sense basically, but still I myself and so many other people I see get lost, in everyday life, and you don't appreciate like the value of social energy and friendship anymore. And besides making you less of a validation seeker and putting you back into like a masculine frame, if you hang out with like your same sex peers, it's just good fun, man. It just gives you the natural, cozy, fun, energetic vibes. And when I was chilling with the dudes there, they're like, they love freestyle and stuff like that. I'm not into that shit so much. It's just the general, the general spontaneous improv vibes you get from that, man. I'm more like the dancer, but, just hanging out by the lake, sipping a little, smoking a little and stuff like that. It's just good times, man. And I think one of the key elements to realize is that so often you look for all kinds of social energies in your partner and you get fixated and you want to draw like you get needy. You want to draw like the energy, all your social energy from your partner. And that's not going to happen, man. When you fall into that trap, you get consumed by expecting too much from your partner. And there's so much energy to be had just from friendship, same-sex peers, like friendship alone, especially among men, there can be such a easy closeness, without behind the back behavior and stuff like that. We just, you direct and you kind of mock each other a little, like a little playful aggression maybe at times, but there's still this kind of supportiveness, it's like the good natured vibe, and I really like the mixture, the mixture that happens in male friendships. That's like a little bit of a teasing, mocking style, being like a little bit playfully aggressive, but on the other hand, being like good-natured friends and like being supportive and stuff like that. There's like so much energy to gain from that. And if you like get lost in a relationship or get like really focused on a person, you lose the sense for like the value of friendship and the value of like the energies of same-sex peers that put you back into your own frame, into your own, like, if you will, gendered frame, they make you see the world from this perspective, man. I felt like if I was in a relationship, man, I was way too often fixated like on what does my partner want, and like being a little bit challenged, to stay in my own frame. That's what I'm working on right now. And since I'm living here and we got the lake nearby, it's just like being on vacation like all week, because you can spend so much time like in nature and having good vibes, just with like-minded people and stuff like that. And I think that's also a place where like creative energy flows, just being outside, chilling, have conversations, like having a little bit of deep talk, which is also good for the soul, man. And also like, if you got nothing to do, what do, man? You start building like stuff out of sticks, or you're like, flipping stones, and or freestyling, or just, dancing to the music. So I think you get more into like a, natural, creative, relaxed vibe, that's like contrary to the everyday survival vibe, I gotta work, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, in order to have my life structured and under control. And I think it's a nice balancer, enjoying this time. I think it's both about nature and it's about friends, man. Like having these two things combined together, going outside, especially like going outside in the afternoon and not just, pushing everything towards the evening, draining yourself of social energies. Baby. There's so many people working in home offices and stuff like that. You don't see people like real people, not just behind the screen or stuff. You just see them in the evening and stuff. Hey man, that doesn't work, man. I mean, life doesn't just take place on the weekends and stuff like that. Life takes place every day, and I think sometimes I and sometimes other people, we just get lost, in perspectives. And I think zooming out sometimes, seeing the bigger picture, and seeing like the value of friendship, seeing the value of nature, seeing the value of just chill, relaxed times outside, that's vastly underestimated. Like especially Western society, man. It's all so many topics, man, are circling around work, and stuff like that. So getting back into this frame, this is what matters, man. Good us time, good social times, good like nature times and stuff like that. That's what really gives you like energy to also get through like the nasty stuff, or to put in the extra hours of work. It definitely like also depends on the level of depth you put into it, man. Like having deep talk with people and just really doing exchange on a deeper level. That's what really gets you into like perspectives of other people, without being drained of your frame. You can approach it from your own frame, but just also getting inspired with the ideas of other people, with the energies of other people. Maybe someone else is just in an entirely different world, like living with an entirely different path or journey, or having entirely different goals. Yeah, and it puts you like in a different mindset, just to go on a little vacation trip into their world, just see what's relevant to them. Just these days, I chilled with a friend who's totally into pickup. And I've done some pickup, like approaching women on the streets, or like shopping and stuff like that, which is good fun, but I haven't done it like, really actively for some time. So of course I'm talking to girls when I'm going out like in a club or on some party or whatever, but not like in everyday life. And he's like really in the routine. I really realized that when we were by the lake, it was just very natural for him to approach people or just talk to people on like flyby mode, stuff like that, like very easy. That inspired me to get back into like this frame, this thing, where it's just normal to talk to everyone, no matter if stranger or what, like, having like good people around you that put you back into maybe some ideas that you had before, or some new ideas that they have that you can integrate into your life, man. It's like a huge benefit, and it's like also a gift, a gift by life, by fate, and by other people. And that also has me thinking, like, isn't it in the end about the very basic things, that you have like a good place where you like to live, man, like a good area, like a good nice cozy place where you can live, and like things that are important to you, and like people that are important to you, people that you can value, man, and that bring like added value to your life, but not like from a performative frame, but just people that you attract and that attract you, and there's kind of a natural interest, to do some kind of exchange, no matter if it's like on an energetic or idea-based level. I think there can be so many levels of exchange, man. And I mean, sometimes you also need people to push you, I mean, it's best if you are self-motivated, intrinsically motivated and stuff like that, of course, man. But sometimes, having people trigger you a little, demanding like a little bit of stuff from you. Yeah, maybe you're not always in the mood, but it maybe has you thinking, should I have like a little bit of a higher risk affinity and stuff like that? Should I be more brave and stuff like that? Should I, try something, push myself a little? But also staying like in a playful place, playful vibe, man, and not taking things too seriously. Anyway, man, this week has me been like being full of appreciation and gratitude, and I just wanted to share this with you. And yeah, leave a like, comment, or whatever you want to do, man. And see you soon. Stay awesome.